Now, in a very unsurprising development in the Keystone pipeline, which was supposed to be 100% safe, well, it turned out that this very same pipeline that's supposed to be very safe spilled over 210,000 gallons of oil into the South Dakota countryside. Oh boy. Now, TransCanada, the company that operates the pipeline, had released in a statement that about 5,000 barrels of oil had leaked in Marshall County, South Dakota. That, of course, is equal to about 210,000 gallons of oil. That, of course, prompted them to shut down this pipeline. In a statement, they said, crews, including TransCanada specialists from emergency management, engineering, environmental management, and safety, as well as contracted, nationally recognized experts, are now assessing the situation. So they're in damage control, right? But wait a minute, I thought these pipelines were supposed to be safe. I thought these pipelines didn't leak. I thought that it was just, all this action against the Keystone XL pipeline, all the protests. No, and all the fact that this pipeline is dangerous to the area. Well, I thought that it was just all liberal propaganda. No, of course it's not. It actually happened, okay? But, of course, not that people who dismiss climate change and the problems with fossil fuels actually give a shit of whether or not this happened, but it happened. And to everyone else, we told you. We told you this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen, and it was only a matter of time until it happened. We told you that this would leak. You know why? Because leaks happen. Pipelines leak all the time. This is not a liberal conspiracy. It actually does happen. Now, there is something interesting in here when it comes to the company. Now, Brian Walsh, an official with the South Dakota Department of Environment and Natural Resources, told BuzzFeed news that TransCanada had notified his department about the leak at about 10:30 a.m. on Thursday. Now, the thing is, the leak was found and stopped at around 6 a.m. So why the lag? That's interesting. In fact, Walsh said, we're not quite sure whether there is a time gap in there between when TransCanada shut off the pipe and when it notified the government agency. Maybe they were coming up with excuses. I don't know. Maybe. Now, the leak happened, of course, in a rural area about 3 miles southeast of the town of Amherst. So now they're saying, oh, it happened in an uninhabited area. There's not a lot of stuff around. Don't worry about it. No problems with this leak. Except there's a little bit of a problem with the leak. Now, David Flute, chairman of the Sisseton Wahpeton Iote tribe, told BuzzFeed News the leak was on a section of pipeline that happened to be adjacent to his reservation. He said that the area has the cleanest lakes in South Dakota, as well as a large subterranean aquifer, and is concerned about the possibility of contamination. He said, quote, I'm thinking there is going to be an impact, some type of environmental impact, as the oil seeps. If they can't contain the spill, which I'm hoping they do, if they're unable to contain it from seeping into the water systems, it can be hurtful and harmful to everybody. Now, Walsh said, the spill had not impacted any bodies of water on the surface. So he says, well, you're not going to see oil floating in the river or the creek. And he also said the oil was unlikely to reach the aquifer area, which is located between 800 and 900 feet underground. Well, on that, good if that's true. However, I do have to point out that, yeah, maybe it just barely missed the lakes and the rivers and the aquifer this time. What about next time? These pipelines that are located near lakes and aquifers, what they are is they're basically just gigantic time bombs waiting to go off. They will leak. Now, too many people seem to buy into that myth that pipelines happen to be safe. They're not. Now, one of the people includes the president, who, when fighting for the Keystone XL pipeline, back when President Obama was president, tweeted this out, quote, so sad that Obama rejected Keystone pipeline. Thousands of jobs. Good for the environment. No downside. Good for the environment. No downside. Well, we've got about 210,000 gallons of downside for you. And good for the environment, that is incredibly laughable. Look, this, more than anything, these constant leaks and the constant pollution and the fact that we are putting more and more carbon in the atmosphere have to demonstrate that we need renewable energy. And look, barring all that, alternative energy is actually now at a point where it's more cost effective than fossil fuel. Solar, wind, geothermal, all right? All that stuff. That's actually now cheaper than coal, oil, or than coal and oil. Natural gas is still incredibly cheap, but I believe wind has now surpassed them as well. But my point is, we can use all those different energy sources that are renewable, that don't have any pollution attached to them. We can power the entire United States in this technology within at least the next 10, 20 years, maybe sooner. It's not like we don't have the technology to do this, right? But right now, all we lack is the political will. And unfortunately, you have a governing party in the United States of America, the governing political party that gets paid to reject scientific consensus. It's amazing to me. But I'm going to go super nerdy on you guys, okay? This actually reminds me of an episode of Star Trek Voyager. Now, in it, I'm going to break it down really simply. They came across a race called the Malon, right? Now, this company, or I'm sorry, this race was advanced enough to the point that they had technology, but it would actually put out a lot of hazardous waste. Well, the Federation had already figured out how to take care of that waste and how to recycle it, so they didn't have to go and dump it everywhere. This race had not come out with that technology. So what happened in the episode is that, hey, look, we're going to offer to give you that technology to help your species, to help your planet, and so that you don't have to dump, you know, this radioactive, disgusting, harmful waste everywhere. And not only that, but the workers on these ships would actually end up getting radiation poisoning after years and years of working on those ships. So what happened, right? Now, they turned it down. Why in the world would they turn down this technology that would actually make their lives better? It's because the corporations needed to still make money. Now, these were the waste hauling corporations, right? So they said, to hell with the environment. There's money to be made off pollution. And that's where we're at here. There is money to be made off of oil. There's money to be made off of pipelines. There's money to be made off corporations. And until we get that money that the politicians receive from these corporations, then what we're going to do is we're going to continue to do the same thing that we were doing before, just like the Malon. We're going to build more pipelines. They're going to end up leaking, while, of course, we're going to continue to send more carbon pollution into the atmosphere. That's going to irrevocably change the climate. But they don't care. They're going to keep on lying. They're going to keep on building these pipelines. These pipelines are going to continue leaking until we, the people, decide to get the money out of politics and to put a stop to them. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.